Okay, so maybe while they will be joining us, Professor Maric, Colombi, and Sister Laura. You can use this time if you have questions for three of us, or you take the word now.
First of all, I would like to thank Bruno for putting me in this difficult situation to moderate this discussion. And I would actually firstly ask Bruno, why did you choose especially these two people for this to speak on this topic, to give us some kind of an introduction?
Actually, why did I choose anyone?
Well,
maybe that's the better question.
Especially because it's.
But actually,
as I see it, they speak of a human face of economics and business and so on. So.
Yeah, the idea of entire symposium was that we find people maybe with different backgrounds and different perspectives, and it's okay. And just to see that there is a lot of people who thinks the same regarding economy and current models and theories, and they see something is not good in it, and that we need to think on alternatives. So, and Christian Felber and almost all Goran and all peoples that participate here, and probably more others, are thinking economy in a different way, as you said, thinking economy with the human face, or putting human in the center and not just profit. And I think that's the reason why we are here today, is because Pope Francis called us believers and non-believers to think some other economy, because as there is a book titled "This Economy Kills," not just in some metaphorical way, but in a concrete way, where we have more and more poor people that cannot gain any goods for their own life, and we have more and more rich people that have more than they need. And how to think about other economy, and I'm really grateful for all of these people that they answered and they came here in one way or another and participate and share some insights. I called Roland, sorry, because Sister Helen mentioned him, and Sister Laura also. I called Jelena and Professor Maric because they are active in economy of communion, as I could see, and they have this combination of academic and real world experiences. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask in similar spirit, Roland, you mentioned we need to cooperate with God in developing this new model of economics and so on. What would you say in which way this cooperation manifests? What would you say that? How would you describe it?
Maybe you could say to Sister that we started.
Okay, Sister, you probably haven't seen me yet, and you do not know me, and we have problems with the connection. She's frozen.
Maybe. I'm sorry if you hear this. We have some problems with our internet connection here, so I hope that it won't make too much problems for us. But we just started the discussion, and wow, this happened all the time during. Yeah, but we can continue.
So what would you say that?
Yes. Well, I think.
What would that concretely mean?
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Laura. Do you hear us?
Hello.
Hello. We have some problems with internet, so if we started our discussion so you can join when you feel it's right, or when moderator ask you some question. Maybe we'll leave this like this.
Može. Bolje. It's great to see you all. And just me.
Yes, I think if I may answer your question, connecting back to the examples that I have mentioned, because the Hungarian example, I know the founder personally. I can say it's my friend, and I got the chance to talk to the founder of the Filipino organization as well. And both of these gentlemen, they have worked in large, very prestigious multinational organizations, but they've been very deeply faithful people. And they have not killed their conscience, but they have started to probably pray a lot and listen to God a lot and try to understand why they don't feel what they are working is not good enough. They felt that this is not good enough, and probably through a lot of contemplation and praying, they have recognized that they need to move on. As Christians, they don't just have to live their life in a certain way in their family. Also in work and in society, they need to pick up a different role. And what I like about them is they have been incredibly trained, highly trained people, very knowledgeable, very, very strongly action-oriented people, and they have become entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, NGO founders. For example, the one in Hungary, he has worked for BCG, has been a regional director in this consultancy firm, and he has founded this great social business that helped now thousands and thousands of people come back to work who have for 20 or 30 years had nothing like that. And the gentleman in Philippines, he worked actually for the same company I worked, so this was funny example for me, but he really fed the same thing, but he used all his knowledge and competence from that company to build something much better. That's probably the liking of God. So I think this is what we need to, it's difficult. I'm not a spiritual advisor, maybe some of you know how to do this better, to listen to God, and if you feel uneasy about your position in life, then don't get satisfied and kill your conscience, but keep listening to God, and maybe you have to carry your cross. No, not maybe, definitely. And then you can do something like these people.
I will return to you with a question, just like a preliminary, question. I will return to you, but with a question: is it inevitable that doing this, developing this new economic model, that we, as Christians, clash with big companies, with technology and so on and so on? So that would be my third question, but next I would like to include Jelena in the discussion. Why do you think that maybe in this context of discerning vocation and developing new economic, is the experience of volunteering important, maybe even necessary?
Okay, thank you for the question. We deal typically with students at their early 20s, and they're typically within those first 3 years of study surrounded with different, mostly theoretical subjects about economy, about different theories in economy, different postulates and rules that are present in economy. And I think that our subject comes as a refreshment. I can confirm it from my own experience, because it was great to know how everything works, the market mechanisms and everything, but I always needed more, because there were questions for me as a believer, as a Christian, that weren't answered within those different subjects. So I always knew there has to be something more, and actually within this subject of management of nonprofit organizations and its specific nature and that essence of volunteering. Well, that actually changed the whole perspective. So I can use all knowledge and all skills that I acquired listening to those theoretical subjects, but I don't necessarily need to use them for chasing profit. So even within large corporations, it's all about people. So
can you just speak a little louder because they have some problems?
Okay.
So we will try to speak louder for you.
Okay, excuse me.
I can hear you very good, Bruno, but it's not understandable what she says.
Maybe
the microphone
change
is nearer.
places. So you sit here. So
It's okay.
I'm louder and I can really loudly speak. So. Can you?
I'll try.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, what we try to offer our students is some fresh perspective that all that they learned during their studies, during their first 3 years of training in different economics subjects, that they can be put to good use through the practice of volunteering, and in that way knowing that there is something more to economy, that there is that non-profit sector which has its basis in families, because family is the basic non-formal non-profit organization of the whole society. So and on the other hand is the place where everything that we learned comes to a test, and that is a test that we often, maybe too often, fail at, because sometimes we don't feel as obligated to give the best from ourselves as we tend to in some corporate or academic environment. So I think that through that practice of volunteering, it's not a large fund of hours, it's 20 hours, but I think that it's a great basis for students that are searching for something more within economy. It can give them a great guidance to follow up.
So in a way, they when they experience when they encounter another real human person, they in a way start to look differently on
economy. Yes, and we can actually affirm that. Reading their feedbacks from that volunteering experience actually confirm everything that that we supposed that practice of volunteering would do. And they are not always aware of all the skills that they acquired, because some of them emerge later on, but we can see the change. It's really noticeable. So I think it's a great gift to them, not just to people they help when they volunteer. So I think that it's a great contribution, even to their study, but a contribution to the development of their whole person. Yeah.
Thank you.
You will have to be louder.
I will have to be louder.
Yeah, as a moderator. So.
I will then.
Come here.
No, it's okay. That is actually, I think that's quite in. This outlook is quite in the spirit and also, let's call them some guidance that Pope Francis expresses in his encyclica, Fratelli Tutti, the last social encyclica. And now I would like to come back to Roland, but if you want to add something concerning the encyclica Fratelli Tutti and this developing of political fraternity and social love, to the question of big companies, of technology, the probable clash between economy of human face and of real community. Is it inevitable in a way?
I think,
or is
or
because of they are big companies that they are detached from the common life, common people, real people, the nature of nature of man and nature in total of creation. Is it this clash in a way?
I think you're asking one of the most important questions, and I think it's appropriate that we don't have a definite answer to that. Definitely not on a personal level. And I also have friends working in the area of the social doctrine of the church who have different approaches to that question. But a few ideas maybe I would put to that. Again, I think it's similar, if I may say an analogy here. When we talk about sanctity of life, some of us are called to be married, wives and husbands. Some of us are called to be priests and religious sisters and brothers. Both of sanctity of life. How does it work? Why is he or she called for this and I'm called for something? It's difficult. And I also, I'm a married man. I have difficulty, for example, completely grasp what is a priestly vocation, right? So I think I understand that there might be great differences here. But I don't want to go around your question. And I don't want to be a professor, like I said, who doesn't say any personal opinions. I worked in a big corporation. I have a chance to see through my students and colleagues and a lot of, and there's, very bad ones, not so bad ones, maybe a little bit better ones. I think there is a large risk of the development of structures of evil to develop in large organizations. The larger they are, the risk is usually the higher. The more they are connected to financial markets through the stock exchange, usually the risk is higher. So I think there is a very, very high risk of the development of structures of evil in this. So I do think it's very important that we develop alternative systems, but to finish it, maybe give a chance to the other colleagues, it's like, like Jonah for Nineveh. Some people have the unique calling, and the people of Nineveh, they had quite a lot of structures of evil there, but still, Jonah was sent there, so I cannot say that somebody is not called to go there, right?
Well, how is it expressed in English? The ways of the Lord are strange, right? And unpredictable in a way. Yes, we'll see. There's even possibility that China, if the current trend of growth of Christianity in that country will in 50 years become, not in 50 years, in less than 30 years, will become the most Christian nation in the world. So it's, I mean, some strange things could happen. But I think sister is also included in this. Okay. So I would ask you, sister, if you could, if you can see me. Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
No, yes, I didn't hear what you said before, but if your face is looking at me, then I understand what you say.
Okay, I would like to ask you, I don't know if you've heard my questions and what the other members of this panel have shared with us, but what would you say that are the basic philosophical and theological principles? Do they have the how to express it? Are they the most important for developing these alternative models of economy, and are they how to say a tool for combating anti-human, anti-community economics opinions and corporations?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. I think that theological and philosophical theorems and ideas are bases. So in my logic, and the logic of my presentation was that the value comes first, it comes before the structure, before the economic structure. And those scientists like Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas I like them because they are making concepts on the basis of the human nature. So if the life would be natural, then it would be upon those ideas what Thomas Aquinas has written. Because the human nature is like that, that moral values are more important than the material things. So all what is said, in my life and in myself, I experience that they are true. And if I see other ideas like the modern ideas now, the gender or whatever, I experience that they are so much anti-natural, anti-human, that you don't feel yourself well upon acting upon those ideas. You feel well when you are on the basis of Thomas Aquinas, and not because Thomas said that. It's because those ideas are in yourself. He didn't establish any new idea. He just explored what has existed. The God created man like this, and he just described what he saw in the man. And now I explored it again in the 20th century that the man is like what Thomas Aquinas says, or what the Bible says, or what Jesus says. And I feel well when I act according to them. I'm happy when I feel according to them, and I'm not happy when I act upon the utilitarian ideas. And that's why I think that I can say that the theological and philosophical thought comes first. And then comes the structure which was built upon those philosophical ideas, and not all philosophical. So this is your option to decide which philosophical ideas do you consider natural or human-like, or which not.
Okay.
This is upon you.
Thank you for your answer. It's basically all comes down to what is good life, what is good for man in a let's say semi-abstract way, if I can express myself in that way, not so philosophical.
Yeah,
but
and after all, you are the person who will experience if it's true or not.
Yes, I agree. Bruno, would you like to add something?
Yeah,
Because you're the organizer and you're the first one, and I didn't listen your.
Yeah, I would ask Cristiano. You didn't have a chance to listen Roland's lecture, but he said at the one point that in economy we have subjective and objective levels of reality, and we are measuring the objective reality, how much is the profit, the GDP, and everything. And we are measuring our how do you say, products of our work. But within economy, no one is looking at the subjective reality regarding the worker, the entrepreneurs, the consumers. How do they develop and do they fulfill their life and purpose within themselves? And you were speaking in your lecture about the agent within economy, and you had three possible models. And actually it's really interesting because I think from Sister Laura, she was talking about three-dimensional economy, and she was speaking about homo reciprocans. How do you say this?
Homo
Reciprocans,
Yeah. And you were speaking about homo bioeconomics. So does in this concept of homo bioeconomics you take subject to be primary level of economy in general?
Yeah. Well, apart from the label that we give to to the subjects, the different subjects. I know the definition of homo reciprocans from Italian economist Zamagni. My idea is that we have something strange, because the so-called objective measures of economic results comes from a subjectivist approach, because the Homo economicus is a subjective approach. So nobody can judge the preference or the choices of the individuals in the neoclassical or neoliberalistic economy. So it's quite strange, because we are used to measure GDP and so on, starting from a subjectivistic approach. So I think that we have to consider the personal definition of the agent. So it's not just an economic function or an economic role, but it's a person. We have to also accept a subjective part of this. So if we allow, or if we understand the right to the self-determination of peoples, we have to consider also the right of to self-determination of men. But we have also objective relationships. So in the third approach I proposed, I said it's not the Homo bioeconomicus or Homo reciprocans. It's not the good man. He is an agent that lives in a context where we have objective relationships with among the society and with the environment. So I think we can start from this. We have to find a complex. Well, we have to follow a more complex analysis where some dimensions are subjective and some dimensions are objective. And in the way we are aware of it, we have more tools to act, and also we have more possibility to analyze this situation. I think that the other thing is that now we live in a historical moment where we can see the fruits of the previous system, and as Jesus said, we can recognize the tree from the fruits. We have to understand that the climate change, the instability of political relationships, and also pandemic and so on, are now global problems that are fruits of something that was wrong in the system before.
May I have a question to you, Cristiano? That why do you say that the Homo economicus is a subjective issue? by subjective?
No, I say that we have to analyze subjective dimension and objective dimension. It's not just black and white. Because, for example, everybody is free to choose his cultural, social, or spiritual goals, and so there is a subjective part of the problem, but it's also an objective part, that is the consequences on the environment and in the society of our behavior.
Thank you, I understand.
Okay, thank you both for your two microphones. Yeah. Thank you both for your.
I'm just an economist, so unfortunately I cannot discuss philosophical or moral problems in deep.
Yeah.
Yes, to some of us or to others, philosophy is like Hungarian language. It's very
Don't think it's Croatian, it's easier.
Well, thank you both for your answer, Cristiana, and your question, Sister Laura. Yes, I would like to now give you opportunity to ask any kind of question to, not to me, but to, yes.
Marcin, can you just be loud?
I guess it will be still not enough to reach the microphone. However, question to Mr. Roland. I'm Marcin from Poland. I'm a PhD student in labor economics actually and business ethics, and at the same time work.
I will repeat the question after.
And work for NGO. Also for the topic that we are trying to create a debate in Poland about the things that you are talking about. So what is the future of work, or actually if all the most low-skilled people will be sooner or later replaced by automatization, especially in a country like Hungary, where you have 15 or 20% in automobile industry, low skill. So what can we do? What can we offer these people? What could they do in the future that could be at the same time meaningful?
Sorry, just to repeat for the two of them. Marcin from Poland actually is at the Angelicum PhD student. Asked what's the future of work and what can we offer to people with low skill employment workers. And since that's the question for Roland.
Yes, I know it might be a lot of questions, so it's a very good, very important question. And the situation again, like I said, it's there is a lot of reasons to be pessimistic, but we should also see the optimistic side. So Hungary doesn't just have lots of manufacturing jobs, which might be automated, but we also have white collar sweatshops, so-called call centers, a lot of them in bigger cities. So we have very high employment levels, but you're right, very high risks that we are going to lose these jobs. And in the moment, there is not much done about this. Okay, so this is not on the government level. I don't see a lot of thinking about how this is going to be improved for the future. Maybe you can help me if you see anything in Poland being done. I think the government, at least, or the big consultancy firms, they have not engaged with the public on a very honest discourse on this. And there's still a very optimistic scenario played out. So many consultancy firms say, no, there's nothing to worry here. In 10 years, we are going to have even more jobs available. And I think that's very dangerous, because there should be an enormous amount of work being done in Hungary to think about, let's say, what happens if 500,000 jobs get eliminated within 10 years. what are we going to do exactly? This job is currently not being done. Is it done in Poland? Is there a serious thinking about
That's
this?
only the beginning. We don't know what could these people do.
Yeah, it's not done in Hungary, but we should work together on this, because if they are working on it, they are not letting the public know about it. And this is not part of they don't want to freak out the people. This is my assumption.
But what could these people do in your opinion?
I think, you mean the manufacturing, low-skilled manufacturing?
That will lose the job after automatization.
It depends on, it should be researched. I think Hungary has maybe to some extent similar conditions like Poland. We need to look at technology is a danger and at the same time a source of advantage. For example, I work together with a small company, a startup company, which is in urban farming. There's amazing technologies in agriculture which are labor intensive in a sense that they are highly automated, but they need very intensive labor involvement, very high quality products in agriculture. Hungary is extremely strong in agriculture, extremely strong in biological scientific side of the biological faculties are incredibly strong. The IT faculties are quite strong as well. So for Hungary, agriculture, biology, IT, this is a potential area where we could have labor-intensive technology creating very high-quality agricultural products. Just one idea, yeah, because agriculture in the moment is employing very, very few people. So I can imagine, for example, that we are going to have again some people shifting back to high-quality agriculture from service and industry and production. Maybe it's just one idea. Do you have something like this going on in Poland? Just to double check with high-quality urban farming stuff like that.
Of course, lots of them.
Lots of them. So it's growing also there.
Yes, but it's still a niche. So and it's you need to have lots of actually skills and knowledge. So the whole education. So it will be like 50 years. So we expect that in 10 years we'll face a huge crisis when we have more than 1 million unemployed that are not skilled to work in such a places.
I wish I could give you more answers, but we should keep in contact to help each other. Thank you.
Following your thoughts, we are now in a project with Erasmus Plus, our association, and we are developing a new job, which is not tourist guide, but rural guide. And this is for connecting agriculture and the cities, because now it's more disconnected than ever. In the past, people used to go to the villages to visit grandmothers, grandfathers. Now it's not happening anymore. So now really some kids think that the cow is purple, like really, really. So our answer is finding a new job, which is rural guide. So
that's great. I think in Hungary we shouldn't be proud because there's very little thinking going into thinking of new potential jobs. I think we should learn from you in that sense. Great.
it's not a million people's job, but yeah, it's a start.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you. Another question? Anybody? Somebody? Well, if there are no questions, we are almost at the end.
Yeah.
So I would like to say just I would like to give a touch, and that would be an invitation to come after the lunch, because I was in my presentation I was talk about something about rural life and family life and so on. So I hope it will be interesting for you. But at the end, I would like to thank all of you for your presentations and for joining this panel. And if Bruno, as the host, wants to add something at the end, or just to thank everybody.
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone for participating, and maybe just an idea. I think the Benedict option is like a conceptual framework that we can discuss after. you will probably say something about it or not? Maybe.
I can touch.
Yeah, but we now have a coffee break. No, we have lunch time. Sorry, and we will continue the.